What if I told you that every day you and your family are being systematically exposed to toxins, that the food on your dinner table, the snacks you give your kids, the drinks you think are harmless, are laced with substances so dangerous they are banned in dozens of other developed countries? What if I told you that the very agencies tasked with protecting your health have been captured by the corporations profiting from your sickness? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's the central charge in a war being declared on the American food system, and one man is making it the cornerstone of his political fight. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has put the chronic disease epidemic fueled by our food supply directly in his crosshairs. He argues that the things we're going to talk about today, they don't even remotely come close to being food. They are chemical concoctions, industrial byproducts, and toxic additives designed for profit, not for health. Today, we are counting down the top 10 most dangerous ingredients and policies that RFK Jr. has vowed to ban. What you're about to hear will shock you, it will anger you, but most importantly, it will empower you to look at your food in a new light. Let's get into it. Number 10. GRAS, generally recognized as safe. The acronym itself sounds reassuring, doesn't it? Generally recognized as safe. It's a stamp of approval, a green light from the FDA that tells you an ingredient is okay to eat. But what if I told you that the system is a complete sham? The GRAS loophole is one of the most insidious deceptions in our food system. It allows food and chemical companies to bypass the rigorous, formal FDA approval process for new food additives. Instead of submitting their data to impartial government scientists, a company can simply convene its own panel of experts, often scientists who are paid directly or indirectly by the company itself, to determine if their new chemical is safe. Think about that for a second. The fox is not just guarding the henhouse, he's building it, writing the safety regulations, and conducting the inspections. If their hand-picked panel deems the substance generally recognized as safe, they can start dumping it into our food supply without ever notifying the FDA. In fact, they have the option to notify the FDA, but it's completely voluntary. How many do you think choose to do so when they know their product is questionable? This has led to a flood of thousands of chemicals in our processed foods that have never been properly examined for their long-term health effects. We're talking about novel preservatives, flavor enhancers, emulsifiers, and synthetic compounds that our bodies have never encountered in all of human history. These aren't just simple ingredients. They are complex chemicals designed in a lab. RFK Jr. has targeted this loophole because it is at the very heart of the problem. It represents a complete abdication of regulatory responsibility. It puts corporate profits directly ahead of public health. He argues, quite rightly, that the GRAS system must be abolished. Every single additive should be required to undergo transparent, independent, and rigorous testing by the FDA before it's allowed anywhere near our food. We, the consumers, should not be the guinea pigs in a massive, uncontrolled experiment. The fact that this is even a debate shows you just how broken the system truly is. Number 9. Artificial sweeteners. We've all seen them, the little pink, blue, and yellow packets. Aspartame, sucralose, saccharin. They're in thousands of products, from diet sodas and yogurts to chewing gum and breakfast cereals. They are marketed as the healthy alternative to sugar, a tool for weight loss and diabetes management. But the science tells a very different story. Let's be clear about what these substances are. Unlike sugar alcohols like xylitol or erythritol, which are made by fermenting natural ingredients, artificial sweeteners are synthetic chemicals. Aspartame, for example, is made from aspartic acid and phenylalanine, and its safety has been a subject of fierce debate for decades. Some studies have linked it to neurological issues, and last year, the World Health Organization's Cancer Agency classified it as possibly carcinogenic to humans. Sucralose, sold as Splenda, is created by chlorinating sugar molecules. That's right, they add chlorine. This process creates a substance that the body can't break down for energy. While it might not have calories, it's not without effect. The most profound damage these sweeteners cause is to our gut microbiome. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria that play a crucial role in everything from digestion and immunity to your mood and mental health. A healthy, diverse microbiome is the foundation of good health. Artificial sweeteners act like a chemical bomb in this delicate ecosystem. Studies have shown they can significantly alter the composition of your gut microbes, wiping out beneficial bacteria and allowing harmful ones to flourish. This disruption, known as dysbiosis, is linked to inflammation, metabolic disorders, and even an increased risk for the very conditions people use these sweeteners to avoid, like obesity and type 2 diabetes. RFK Jr. understands that the promise of artificial sweeteners is a lie. They are not a health food. They are a chemical crutch that perpetuates our addiction to sweetness while potentially causing long-term systemic harm. He advocates for a return to real, whole foods and transparency in labeling, so consumers know exactly what kind of chemical cocktail they're ingesting. Number 8, ultra-processed foods. This is a big one. It's not just a single ingredient, but a whole category of products that now dominate the shelves of our supermarkets. Ultra-processed foods, or UPFs, are not really food. They are industrial formulations. Think of things that come in crinkly bags, brightly colored boxes, and plastic wrappers, frozen dinners, sugary cereals, chicken nuggets, packaged cookies, and most fast food. What defines them? They typically have long ingredient lists filled with names you can't pronounce. They are made from substances extracted from foods, like synthetic starches and protein isolates, and then loaded up with additives to make them palatable. The primary components are often a trifecta of toxic ingredients: synthetic sugars like high fructose corn syrup, refined seed oils, and a whole host of artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives. The goal of these products is not nourishment, it's hyperpalatability. Food scientists engineer them to hit the bliss point, the perfect combination of salt, sugar, and fat that overrides our body's natural satiety signals, making them literally addictive. You eat them, but you never feel full, so you keep eating more. The health consequences are devastating. A massive body of research now links high consumption of UPFs to increased risks of obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, depression, and even a higher risk of all-cause mortality. That means eating this stuff regularly is associated with an earlier death. RFK Jr.'s approach to this is strategic and compassionate. He knows we can't just ban everything overnight, so he's targeting the most vulnerable populations. He aims to get these ultra-processed foods out of places where people have limited choices, like children's school lunches, hospitals where sick people are supposed to be getting well, and assisted living homes for our elderly. It's a common sense policy. We should be feeding our children, our sick, and our elderly the most nutritious food possible, not the addictive, disease-promoting products of big food. Number 7. Seed oils. Canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. They sound healthy, don't they? They come from plants, after all. This might be one of the most successful marketing coups in history. These are not the healthy, traditional fats our ancestors consumed, like olive oil, butter, or coconut oil. These are industrial seed oils, and they are wreaking havoc on our health. Here's the problem. These oils are incredibly high in polyunsaturated fatty acids, specifically omega-6. Now, we need some omega-6 in our diet, but we also need a healthy balance of omega-3. Our ancestral diet had a ratio of about 1:1. Today, thanks to the prevalence of seed oils in everything from salad dressings and mayonnaise to fried foods and baked goods, the average person's ratio is closer to 20:1. This massive imbalance is a recipe for disaster. Excess omega-6 is highly inflammatory. When you consume these oils, especially when they are heated for cooking or frying, they oxidize and become unstable, creating free radicals that damage your cells, your DNA, and your arteries. This chronic, low-grade inflammation is now understood to be a root cause of nearly every major chronic disease: heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and autoimmune conditions. It's estimated that the average person now consumes 25 to 30% of their daily calories from these toxic fats. And here's the scariest part. These fats get incorporated into your body's cells. They have a very long half-life, meaning they can linger in your body fat for over a year after you've consumed them, continuing to promote inflammation long after the meal is over. Number 6. High fructose corn syrup, HFCS. If you start reading labels, you will see this everywhere, in sodas, juices, breads, ketchups, yogurts, and cereals. High fructose corn syrup is a super cheap, super sweet liquid sugar derived from cornstarch. Its rise to dominance in the 1970s and 80s perfectly coincides with the explosion of the obesity and type 2 diabetes epidemics in America. Coincidence? Not a chance. Here's why HFCS is so uniquely damaging, particularly compared to regular table sugar, sucrose. Regular sugar is made of two molecules, glucose and fructose, bonded together. Your body has to break that bond before it can be metabolized. High fructose corn syrup, however, is a mixture of glucose and fructose that are already separate. This makes it much easier for your body to absorb the fructose. And fructose is the real villain here. Unlike glucose, which can be used by almost every cell in your body for energy, fructose can only be metabolized by the liver. When you consume large amounts of HFCS, you are sending a fructose tidal wave directly to your liver. The liver gets overwhelmed and starts converting that fructose into fat. This leads directly to a condition called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is now rampant, even in children. This fat buildup in the liver causes inflammation and damage, and it's a primary driver of insulin resistance, the hallmark of type 2 diabetes. From there, it's a domino effect. Increased triglycerides, higher levels of bad cholesterol, and a significantly elevated risk of heart disease. Number 5. Potassium bromate. When you buy a loaf of fluffy white bread or a soft hamburger bun, you expect it to have that perfect, airy texture. But have you ever wondered how they get it that way? Often, the secret ingredient is a chemical called potassium bromate. Potassium bromate is a powerful oxidizing agent that is added to flour. During the baking process, it strengthens the dough, allowing it to rise higher and giving the final product a white, pillowy quality. It makes bread production faster and cheaper for industrial bakeries. But there's a dark side. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified potassium bromate as a possible human carcinogen. Animal studies have shown that it can cause cancer in the thyroid, kidneys, and other organs. The concern is that while most of the potassium bromate is supposed to be converted into a harmless substance, potassium bromide, during baking, trace amounts of the carcinogenic bromate can remain in the final product. And when you're eating bread, rolls, and other baked goods regularly, that exposure adds up. This is not a controversial issue in most of the world. The use of potassium bromate as a food additive is banned in over 30 countries, including the entire European Union, the United Kingdom, Canada, Brazil, and even China. Yet, here in the United States, it remains perfectly legal. The FDA has timidly encouraged bakers to voluntarily stop using it since 1991, but has refused to issue an outright ban. This is another classic example of the American regulatory system failing its citizens. Why are we allowing an ingredient that is considered too dangerous for people in Europe and China to be in the bread we feed our children? RFK Jr. is demanding that the US join the rest of the developed world and ban this possible carcinogen. There are safe alternative methods for conditioning dough. There is absolutely no reason to continue taking this risk. Number 4. Brominated Vegetable Oil, BVO. The name itself is a masterclass in deception. Vegetable oil sounds natural, right? But the key word here is brominated. Bromine is a chemical element, a halogen, that is also used as a flame retardant in plastics and furniture. Let me repeat that, a flame retardant. So why is this chemical in our drinks? BVO is used in some citrus-flavored soft drinks and sports drinks. Think of those brightly colored orange, lemon, lime, and grapefruit sodas. Its purpose is to act as an emulsifier, keeping the citrus flavoring suspended in the liquid so it doesn't separate and float to the top. It provides a cloudy appearance and a more stable product. But consuming a flame retardant comes with serious health risks. Bromine can build up in the body's fatty tissues. Over time, this accumulation can lead to a condition called bromism, with symptoms that include skin lesions, memory loss, nerve problems, and other neurological issues. There have been documented cases of people requiring medical attention for excessive soda consumption, leading to severe bromine toxicity. Again, the rest of the world is far ahead of us on this. BVO has been banned as a food additive in Europe, Japan, and India for years. They recognized the potential danger and took action. In the United States, however, after decades of pressure from consumer groups, the FDA has finally proposed a ban, but it's not yet final. Major soda companies have been slowly phasing it out due to public pressure, but it can still be found in some store brand and smaller label drinks. Number 3. Titanium dioxide. Titanium dioxide is a whitening pigment. It's used in paints, plastics, and paper to make them appear a brilliant, opaque white. It's also in a surprising number of things we eat. Check the labels on your coffee creamer, your salad dressing, your chewing gum, and even your pastries and candies. If it's a stark, bright white, there's a good chance it contains titanium dioxide. The concern is with the size of these particles. Often, titanium dioxide is used in its nanoparticle form. These particles are so incredibly small that they can pass through the normal barriers of the body. They can be absorbed through the intestine, travel through the bloodstream, and accumulate in various organs, including the liver, spleen, and even the brain. This is where it gets truly alarming. In 2021, the European Food Safety Authority declared that titanium dioxide was no longer considered safe as a food additive. Their reasoning was that they could not rule out genotoxicity, the ability of a chemical to damage your DNA. DNA damage is a precursor to cancer. As a result of this finding, titanium dioxide was banned as a food additive across the entire European Union in 2022. Think about that. One of the world's largest and most respected food safety agencies looked at the evidence and decided the risk of DNA damage was too great. France had already banned it back in 2020, yet here in the United States, the FDA continues to allow it, claiming the evidence of harm isn't definitive. Number 2, the SNAP program. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is the nation's largest anti-hunger program. It's designed to provide low-income families with the funds they need to buy food. In principle, it is a noble and necessary safety net. But here is the heartbreaking reality. There are virtually no restrictions on what kind of food can be purchased with SNAP benefits. As a result, tens of billions of taxpayer dollars every year are spent on the very ultra-processed, disease-promoting products we've been talking about: soda, candy, processed meats, and junk food. In fact, soda is the main item purchased with SNAP funds in the United States. We are, in effect, subsidizing the chronic disease epidemic among our most vulnerable citizens. We are using public money to funnel profits directly to the junk food and beverage industries, while simultaneously fueling the health crises, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, that disproportionately affect low-income communities. It's a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle of poverty and poor health. Number 1, artificial food dyes. Red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1. These are not foods. They are synthetic chemicals derived from petroleum. Let that sink in. The vibrant colors in your kids' breakfast cereal, their fruit snacks, their drinks, and even in some pickles and medications are made from crude oil. These dyes serve zero purpose other than to make processed food look more appealing, particularly to children. A dull, grayish snack doesn't sell well, but a bright red or blue one flies off the shelves. It's a purely cosmetic, marketing-driven choice. But these colors come at a high cost to our health. For decades, studies have linked the consumption of artificial food dyes to behavioral problems in children, including hyperactivity, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and irritability. Many parents can tell you anecdotally that after their child has a brightly colored treat, their behavior changes dramatically. The science is now catching up with this parental wisdom. A comprehensive 2021 report from the state of California concluded that these dyes can indeed cause or exacerbate neurobehavioral problems in some children. And then there's the cancer risk. The Delaney Clause, a landmark piece of legislation from 1958, explicitly prohibited the use of any food additive that was shown to cause cancer in humans or animals. This was a clear, unambiguous line in the sand. But in 1996, under intense industry lobbying, the Food Quality Protection Act was passed. This new law effectively gutted the Delaney Clause, replacing its zero-tolerance policy with a vague, reasonable certainty of no harm standard. This opened the floodgates for a host of questionable chemicals, including these petroleum-based dyes, to remain in our food supply. Many of these dyes have been shown to be contaminated with known carcinogens. Red 40, the most widely used dye, has been found to contain cancer-causing contaminants. Both Red 40 and Yellow 5 have also been linked to hypersensitivity reactions and immune system tumors in animal studies. Just like with so many other items on this list, these dyes are banned or require warning labels in many other countries. In the European Union, foods containing these specific dyes must carry a label that says, "may have an adverse effect on activity and attention in children." As a result, most manufacturers in Europe have reformulated their products to use natural colorings from sources like beets, carrots, and turmeric. They have the ability to make the safer products. They just don't sell them here because our government doesn't make them. So there you have it. 10 of the most dangerous, deceptive, and unnecessary components of the American food supply that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is fighting to eliminate. From loopholes that let corporations police themselves to flame retardants in our soda and petroleum in our kids' snacks. The picture is bleak, but it is not hopeless. Knowledge is power, and now you have the knowledge. You can start today in your own home by reading labels and choosing whole, unprocessed foods. You can vote with your dollars, showing these corporations that you will no longer buy their chemical-laden products. The battle that RFK Jr. is fighting is not just his, it's ours. It's a battle for the health of our families, for the future of our children, and for the soul of our country. It's about taking back control from the corporate giants who have profited from our sickness for far too long. If this message resonates with you, if you believe that we deserve a food system that nourishes us instead of poisons us, then please subscribe to this channel. If you agree with RFK, leave a supportive comment and like this video. Stay healthy, stay informed, and never ever stop fighting for the truth. You have the power to change your health, and together we have the power to change the system.